Hi there, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike, and I'm excited to share another Divi tutorial with you. My goal here is to make learning Divi as straightforward as possible. Today we're going to see how to create a circular satellite menu using Divi. Right, if you have followed me for a little while, you would have noticed in the previous video we created the side menu that would kick out and show us blurbs if you hovered over it. Today's one is slightly different. So let's have a look at what's the finished product. In the bottom corner here, you can see that we have this little circular icon. And what happens if I click on it, it opens up the menu. A nice sliding transition. If I click on it again, it closes it away. So the reason why I don't have any option here to click on anything is because I did not put the link in when I created these blurbs. All right, so each one of these are going to be blurbs. And then if I click on it again, it goes away. All right, so that's what we're going to be building today. If that's something you're interested in, just hit that like button below and grab your favorite beverage and let's jump right in. Okay, so what I've done so far is I have created a new page and I've just loaded the Divi layout. I selected on there when I create a new page, use Divi, and then I said I want to use a pre-made layout. And in the pre-made layouts, I just typed in finance over here, and then you can find the one that I'm using, which is this one over here. So if you want to follow along using the exact same thing, then that's how you can get there. All right. So if we jump back into this one over here, I'm just going to take that away, and I scroll down to the bottom. All that I've done is I've deleted the footer that comes with this particular layout. All right, you don't need to do this. You can keep the footer in there and you can just work on it in here. But for me, I like to take it out and I prefer to put it into a template. All right, so if I go build new template, I want this only to show on, oh, I did not save that yet. Excuse me. All right, so theme builder, let's just refresh this one. Okay, so add a new template, build new template, specific page, and I want it only on the slide out circle demo, and I want to create the template. So basically what this is going to do is anything I create on here is only going to show on this page. All right, it won't affect anything else that's anywhere else on the site. Okay, so jump back into the theme builder. I'm going to add a custom footer. I'm going to build a custom footer. And once that opens up, I'm just going to go here to section and I'm going to say add from library. And then I'm just going to select the finance footer and use this section. Okay, once that's in, I'm going to delete the section above. And there we have it. Let's just save this. And then exit and just save it here so that we can register this new template. Okay, once that is saved, we can jump back into this template and we can start doing the work. Okay, so first things first, let's add on a new section here at the bottom. And in this new section, let's just add one whole row. Okay, before we add anything in there, let's go and see the row. All right, so some things we always need to do is use custom gutter width. Let's push that to 1. And for width, we want to make this 100%, and for maximum width, we also want to make it 100% as soon as I actually save it correctly. There we go. So now that all that's doing is it's just shooting our row so that it fills the entire screen. Okay, next thing we want to do, scroll down, spacing, I want to put 300 pixels. So we're just giving it a bit of padding so that we can see what's going on. And then once all that's done, we can save, and now we can actually start doing some of the work. All right, so the first thing we want to add is obviously a blurb. All right, once the blurb opens up, pull it to the side here, we want to take out the title, and we also want to take out the body text. All right, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to create 5 different blurbs. All right, the first one is going to be our one with the home, and then thereafter whatever options you want to put into your menu. Okay, so here we want to use icon for sure, and we want to use, for me, the hamburger menu. It's like that one. All right, then let's go and do a bit of design work. Change a couple of these settings, and we want to look at the image icon. Okay, for me, I want to make this 1 2 1 2 1 2 because that just sort of fits in with this color that we have over here. Then for the background color, I want to make it yellow. Okay, then keep it top. It doesn't make too much difference here, but this one over here, I want to push down to 20. Let's make it 25. Okay, that looks better. All right, then we want to make sure that we have a border. Okay, our border color, we want to make sure it's also still yellow. Let's make it a nice border color of 2. And then we'll come back to the top here, and we want to put in 50%. That makes it a nice circle. And then we want to scroll down to the bottom here, and let's give this a bit of padding. So the padding we want to give, let's just call it 20, I think. Okay, top and bottom, and 20 left and right. Okay, that gives us the circle we got going there. Just not sure if that's big enough, but let's put a 25 just to be. And 25. Okay, all working well. And then for margin, we can just put 0. Okay. We don't really need margin top and left and right, but I suppose we can just take it out. Take that off. Main one we want here is we just want margin bottom 0. Okay, so we don't want anything there. All right, next thing we need to do is scroll down, and we want to go to animation. So we want to make sure animation style is set to none, but we also want to make the icon animation no animation. Once that is done, we go to advanced, we go to position, and we want to make sure that this is at least a 1 at the very least. You can make it whatever. It could be a 9999 like what we've done in the previous tutorial, or just 1. So basically what we want here is we want to ensure that this item always sits on top of whatever other design that we're doing. We don't want it to be caught behind, because then what's the point of creating this in the first place? So we want to make sure that it stays behind. All right, so that should be good. All right, what you can also do if you did not do the one at the top is go to blurb image, and here also set margin bottom, and we set this to 0 pixels. Okay, so that's just for the blurb image. Once that is done, we're pretty much good to go. You can save that. And now we can go create the second blurb. The second blurb, what we do is we just duplicate this one. Then we can go jump into it. And in this one, we want to make sure we change the icon. So I'm going to set this one to a home. This one? Yeah, let's go with that one. All right, so you want to make sure that this is changed. And then the second thing you want to change is if you go, not this one, advanced, position, and we want to set this back to 0. All right, and then another thing we can also change is we can go to transform, and then transform scale, and we want to set this to 70%. All right, so he's going to be a little bit smaller than our main one. Okay, so once that is done, can save that. And then what we do is we actually duplicate this for blurbs 3, 4, and 5. So 3 times we're going to duplicate this, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then we're going to follow the same thing. Is we're going to jump into each one, and we're going to change their icon. So for this one, what do we want to make this one? Let's make it a person. There we go. Save. Next one. Let's make this one location. Okay. And the last one, let's make this our shopping cart. Let's go with this one. No, it doesn't look so good. Let's go with that. Yeah, that one's better. Okay. So we have our blurbs here set up. There's our home one. And now what we need to do is we need to go and stack them. So the default that we have is obviously one on top of the other one. But what we need to do is we need to put this into an absolute position so that they can all stay in the actual position that we want them to be. Now, what we can do is, since we're going to make the same changes for all 4 of these, you can select one and then hit the control. And when you hit control like that, it then selects each one of them. And so if I go into the settings here, and I want to make some changes to the settings, I go advanced, go custom CSS, module elements, come down to the main element. And in the main element, I want to put in position. And here I want to say, I want this position to be absolute. Now, there might be some others calling forth, so I just want to make sure that this is set to important. Now, where do I want to put this? I want to put to the bottom. I want to make sure it's 20 pixels from there. And from the left, I also want to make sure there's 20 pixels there. Okay, so they've all shot to the side over here, as you can see. All right, they're sitting in the bottom left. 20 pixels, 20 pixels. Okay, so once that is done, we actually, we want the same code. I was just trying to think, why is this one not going? I want the same code for this one. So custom CSS, module elements, main elements, and just put them in there. There we go. Okay, all stacked nicely now. All right, save that. So now if we have a look, we have it right here in the bottom, but nothing's obviously going to be done as yet, because there's no JavaScript, there's no nothing. So the first things we want to do is we now want to tell the blurbs, where do we want them to jump out to, right? So if I click on this, where do I want the others to be positioned? So naturally, if we go back to our previous example, if I click on here, you see they sort of wrap around like that. So we need to tell each one what position we want them to be in. How do we do that? We can use the transform translate. So if I come back into, okay, so we, because we've stacked them, we're not going to be able to access them here. So the best option for us is to go and jump into the wireframe. And there's listed all our different blurbs. So we start off with the first blurb here. Okay, so blurb number 2, we want to go design. We want to shoot to the bottom here, transform, and transform translate. Now for transform translate, we want to start this and we want to position it at 10 EM, right? We don't want this to be linked because we want this one to remain as it was, all right, 0. Okay, so that's going to push it directly above, but before it's going to move it up more, -10. So it's going to be -10 off the central axis. Okay, so he's all done. Let's save him. And let's jump into blurb number 3. Okay, blurb number 3, we're going to do the same kind of thing, transform, but now we're going to change 2 options. Right, make sure this is not linked, break that off, and then we're going to put here -8.6 EM. All right, and for the X value, we're going to put 5 EM. Okay, so let's save this. Now let's go to number 4. So for blurb number 4, we want this to do the same thing. Transform, translate. Take off the link. And for here, for Y, we want -5 EM. So we push it up a little bit. But for the X value, we want 8.6 EM. Okay, save that. I just want to see, was it blurb 2? Transform, translate. Okay, that one's -10. This one. So translate. Okay, it's got the 0.6. All right. So then that will move us on to the final one, I think. Blurb number 5. Design. Shoot to the bottom, transform, transform, translate, remove the link, and then we want to keep our Y as a 0, and we want to make sure that this one is 10 EM. Okay. Let's save that. So let's go to 8. Yes. Okay. All right, so we've done them all. Now what we need to do is we need to add in a little bit of code. All right. To be able to call the code, we're going to first need to identify which items we want to make, which we want to target when refer to when we are targeting the code. Okay, so let's open up blurb number 1. So this is the home page one, the original one that we created. And we want to go to advanced, and we want to go to CSS ID and classes. All right, so over here, we want to type in a class. You can create anything here you want, but we are going to be targeting this with some code, JavaScript and everything. And so whatever you type in here, you would need to edit the code to ensure that it follows exactly what you're typing here. Now, to make this a little bit easier, if you head over to my blog, which I'll put the link in the description below, you go to this article over here, and you just need to scroll down. Here you can see as classes. And so for blurb number 1, you just need to copy. All right, go back in to yours, and CSS class, just paste. All right, once you've pasted that in, you just save it. Okay, and then for the next few blurbs, again, if you hit the control and you click on it. Why is it not working now? Oh, there we go. Okay, so I want to make the change for all of these because we're going to use the same CSS classes. So I just control, select them, and I go to advanced, I go to CSS, come here to CSS class, go back to the article, and just copy this class over here. So this is actually 2 classes. One is has transform, and the other one is toggle transform animation. Let's go back and just paste that in. All right, save that. Excuse me. And once that is done, we now need to add some code for this to actually be activated. All right, so we can do one of two ways here. We can either add a code module here, right? Or back in our WordPress dashboard, we have Divi, we have theme options. So any CSS code you can actually load right here and just paste it in there. And if you have JavaScript, you just go to integration and you can add it in over here. Now, because we want this only to be on this one page, we don't want it to be affecting anywhere else, I'm going to place it directly into the page. Okay, so all I do is I just add in a code module here, code, and then if we want to add the code here, let's just head back to the blog post. Over here we have the CSS code, so make sure you get all of the style ones in as well. So CSS, I got the style code opening and I've got the style code closing, and then just hit enter there. And then I go back and I want to grab the JavaScript code. Okay, so the JavaScript code. Okay, come back to where my code module is, and I just paste that in as well. So in theory, what we've done is we have added, see, the has transform and the transform target, the toggle transform animation. It's all the classes that we've placed in earlier before we did this for each of the blurbs. So it's going to be targeting each one of these things, the code. So if you have made any changes and you put in your own custom classes, then be sure to make the changes in this code as well. So I'm going to save that, and I'm going to save this. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the front end. Not this one, but this one. All right, you can see nothing is here at the moment. If I refresh this, you'll see nothing is here still. Now, why is that? Let's first see what happens if we scroll down. Okay, we keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. There we have our white section that we added. Here we have our button. What happens if we hit the button? Well, the button works fine. All right. The only issue we sit with now is it's not visible. Okay, so the reason for that is because we did not make that sticky. So if we come back into our Visual Builder, well, in my case here, I'm still using the wireframe, and we go to the row settings and we go to advanced. Scroll all the way to the bottom and just hit scroll effects. Now, sticky position, I want to stick this to the bottom, and I want to make sure it's about 20 pixels. 20 pixels. Okay, so 20 pixels offset from everything from the bottom. Okay, the rest of it you can all keep as it is. Let's save that, and let's save this. All right, let's go back to the front end, scroll back to the top, and let's refresh this and see if we get lucky. And there we go, the button is there. Now, not only is the button there, but if we scroll down to the bottom, you can see it stays there the whole time. That is the beauty of the sticky function, right? And if we click on that, you can see it still works as we expected. All right, so that is how you can easily add in a circular satellite menu onto your Divi site. Now you can continue to go and you can customize this to your heart's content to fit your particular design, as in you can make this a link, and you can then, once it's a link, you can change the hover color and all these kinds of things that you can go and play with that. I won't be displaying how you do that here today because I just wanted to show you and give you the functionality so that you can build this into your site. Okay, you can also change the sizing and everything to suit your particular design. So I hope this tutorial will be useful for you, and if it is, or if it has been, you know, do come back and share in the comments where on a site that you've used it in, so that we can see how it's been used and we can all learn from each other. So I'm planning to still do more Divi tutorials as I learn more about Divi. So it'll be good if you can subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of these tutorials coming up. And if you found this very useful, be sure to share it with people, other people that might also find it useful. And obviously my outros do need a lot of work, but your feedback is valuable. So please do leave a comment below with any questions or suggestions for future videos. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.